information here. All right, so starting off with the recording, today we're going to take a look at the Nolte Interregional Services Master File Manager and talk about some of the project workflow and CAD data file management for interregional projects. Starting off talking with Jerry Jackson, this project we'll be looking at today, he's going to set up folders for the Table Mountain Rancheria, which I'm reading right off of the Nolte News. So congratulations, you guys, on scoring that big job there for Nolte. Looks pretty impressive. In order to do this, we're going to set it up to where multiple offices will have access to the data. And unfortunately, AutoCAD, Land Desktop, and Civil 3D don't have any tools for managing this data across a wide area network, and I need to step back because Civil 3D does. We're just not using it. So we're going to look at what we've put together for file management. I'm going to just kind of start off showing you where you can get additional information on this and where the documentation is for this. So on the CAD news panel in my Nolte, there should be a Nolte CAD support question here, and hopefully everybody knows how to get to this. And I'm just going to type in IRS and search on that, and that's the acronym we use for interregional services or multiple office work. Main thing you're going to get on here is two types of documents. Little question marks are questions that people have had, and most of them are just some error messages we get when you're not configured with the IRS file manager tool correctly. So that's where you see all the how do I fix these errors. But I'm going to point to these tree documents here, and this is actually a chapter in the CAD user manual that talks about how we are managing these interregional projects. Let me click on that and bring you into this. We've got this big flow chart here we use that tries to explain the data flow for this project data. And the two big boxes we have, this would be, for this project, this will be the Madeira server, and then the big yellow box here would represent the Sacramento and Manteca servers. And what we're interested right now is going to be our master drawing files, and those are going to be all the master sheets, or not master sheets, I don't want to use the word sheet, excuse me, all the master drawing files that are in the CAD master folder. What we do with these files is they will get replicated every night automatically from the Madeira office to Sacramento and Manteca. We can also, or we will also put in some batch files that you can then manually update these files any time of the day just by clicking on a batch file, and it will copy newer versions to keep them synchronized so you know you're always referencing the current version of that data. Because this replication is occurring, you cannot edit files directly in the master drawing folder, because what will happen is, especially for the folks in Manteca and Madeira, that nightly replication will overwrite anything that you do. So if you edit a master file today, tomorrow morning when you come in, that file will be overwritten and all of your edits will be lost. Okay, so it kind of causes problems on that. For the Madeira office, probably not quite as fatal, but you just have to watch that. If somebody has that file checked out, you make an edit in the master folder, they check it back in, they will overwrite any changes that you've done in the master folder. Okay, so you kind of have to watch that. We can also set up replication for any other reference type folder, whether it be images, raster images, anything like that that you would reference into that. I'm not sure how much Land Desktop you'll be using with this, but unfortunately Land Desktop itself does not allow its database files to be replicated because they are databases. That data we have a whole different process for handling, and then I'm not sure we'll go into that today, but just kind of give you a little bit of understanding of what's going on in this image here. We also have the green boxes on here represent the sheet drawing sets, and the way we've typically done those in the past is each office would be the owner of the particular sheet set that they are working on. So that sheet set, say for example the Sacramento office is doing a pipeline to this facility, they would do all the sheets would be located on their server, but they would be referencing the master files out of the master folder, but they would then own the sheets. And one of the things that we've done for project managers in the past is we would then replicate those every night to a separate folder on the home office, allowing the project manager just to check status. But there is no check-in, check-out functionality for the sheet sets. Okay, it's only for the master folders. All right, so to edit a master folder, what we're going to look at is there's a process where you would check it out to your working folder, and that's where you would then open, edit, work on the file, make any changes, and then once you're happy with those changes, maybe did a little QA/QC on it, you would then check it back into the master folder, and then that file would become available to everybody on the project. So actually kind of a nice process, because we've learned that it does give you a little bit of version control. So whereas when you edit directly in the master file, master drawing folder, anytime you make an edit, that is instantaneously available to everybody whenever you save that drawing file. So this lets you work on it for 2 or 3 days without having to update the master one, so everybody else is working with the previous approved version of that. Coming down to the document, this just talks a little bit more about what we've done here, and Jerry's probably gone through and set all this up, and it talks about all the different technologies that's set up, the different support files to make this work. What we're going to see is in your project there'll be some specific folders here, and I've highlighted in red folders that we require for an IRS project, and not all of these are required. For example, if you're not doing any land desktop, you won't need the land XML folder. But the main thing we're going to need is in your CAD folder, you're going to need a master folder and a working folder. And I'm actually going to show you a project that we're using right now in Sacramento, where we're using the IRS tools. It's a roadway job that's being worked on, I think, Sacramento, Walnut Creek, and San Jose, if I remember right. And I'd have to go back and look at how it's set up. But let me actually jump over to that here. So here's the job. I'm not sure what the job number is. It's been a while since I've been involved in this, but it is set up. So we see in the master folder we have all the master drawing files. And one of the things you're going to see that clues you in that this is an interregional project is each master file will have a corresponding IRS file, and this extension is what the IRS Master File Manager is using to keep track of where a master drawing is and what's been done to that drawing file. And I can actually, they're just text files, and I can open it up and view it in Notepad, and it just keeps track of whether a file 1 is checked out, 0 is checked in. It has a date, time, what server it came from, what user checked it in or checked it out, and then they'll have a description of what was actually done to that file. And I will encourage you put real good descriptions in, because one of the benefits we find of using this process is it becomes a great tool to communicate to others on the project team that something has happened and they may need to go back and look at their drawing to make sure there's no conflict or nothing that they need to change. Like here I see they've removed double yellow lines here. Probably not as critical you know, for somebody doing a pipeline or whatever, a double yellow line is going to affect you. But if I move a property line or an easement line or a pipe moves going the other way, then maybe I need to go back in and update, you know, as a surveyor or whatever, update my easement lines to make sure my easement contains my pipe structure or vice versa. Okay, so it becomes a real good tool to communicate. All right. The other folder you'll have is the working directory, and I can see right now that none of the master files are in here, but you do all of your editing and working on drawings in this folder. And a couple of things it does for us: one, besides the version control that we get, it also makes it so all the garbage drawings end up in this folder, and then your master folder stays nice and clean. You'll see for the most part these are all just standard Nolte master files in here. Not a whole lot of other drawings. So real nice, clean. And then the working folders where somebody made a couple of copies of these structural drawings as they made their edits. And then we've got backups, so I can see which, you know, taking a look at here, I can see which sheet file or which master files they were editing in this folder. Okay, so those are the main things that we need for keeping track of our master drawings. So those folders will be set up for you. And just keep in mind that you always open, when you use Catapult or Cadillac or whatever and open up a drawing, you want to be opening from the working folder. And I'll go through and show you what happens if I try to open something from the master folder. Okay. The other folder you're going to see that makes a job in IRS project is there will be an IRS folder, and this is where we keep the files so that the IRS master file manager knows which servers are involved, what email addresses to send notifications to, and then as the project CAD captain, I get this error text file, and this shows me that people have been editing and opening drawings. And I can see Levi Kinnebrew here has been opening quite a few drawings in the master folder, so I need to go slap his hand for doing that. But we can kind of see who's playing by the rules and who's not playing by the rules here. All right, so that's what's going on from the user standpoint. Okay, so it kind of talks about that here. And again, we can set these up for managing a couple other projects and folders, directories, so these things will all replicate correctly. And I thought I had some, well, let me jump back here to my search here. So I'm going to we're going to look at master file process. So here's a flow chart that we put together using TeamFlow a while back, and it shows the process of how you're going to check in, check out, and modify drawings. So it kind of talks about how that is updated and replicated. You check it out, you edit it, and so on. Okay. We originally talked about that only the CAD captain would check them out, but we've kind of left it to where anybody can check one out. All right. So let's take a look at what's going on here. So let me break it first. So bear with me a sec. I had to make sure I was in, actually I went Civil 3D, we'll just do map here. And let me add that project in real quick here. Okay, so there's my project. So if I come here and then I said if I go straight to the master folder, and let me find, we'll take this existing structural sheet here, so it's pretty small, but if I try to open this now in my AutoCAD, what you'll see is it'll let you open it. We can't keep you from opening it, but you will get a warning indicating that you are violating our IRS MFM protocol. All right, bear with me. I'm connected actually to Sacramento's server, so I don't have a direct line in here, so it'll be a little slow here initially. All right, there we are. So you will get this error message again using a Nolte workstation. You'll get this saying you're attempting to edit a drawing that may be checked out to another office, exclamation point, so that could be fatal. Please close without making any edits. Obviously, I'm going to say Jerry may have a need or an instance where they will open a file in the master folder, but just need to be aware that any edits you make here could potentially be overwritten. Okay, so we kind of have to watch that. And I got stuff popping up all over the place here. And get rid of that. All right, so that's, and I'm not going to save changes. So, and we do get a log file indicating that, you know, my name will now be in the log for this project, indicating that I just made that edit. All right, so the way I want to work then is, say I want to edit that file, is I would go to my Start menu here, and under All Programs, under CAD Design Tools is where it should be. There it is, IRS Tools. And it's the IRS Master File Manager, and you can copy the shortcut to your desktop, which I've done. And then what you do is, let me delete that from my list. So the first time you bring it up, you should have a blank list, and you want to use the Add button, and this will bring up a little file browser. and you just scroll down, find the job number that you want, and I can never remember this, so I want 29600. Okay, and then you add that. If it is not configured as an IRS project, it won't let you add it. So if I just randomly come in here and grab one of these, you'll just get a message saying, hey, I can't recognize this as an IRS project, so you can't pick it. All right. So once you've got it selected, you click on the Open Project, and what it does is it actually reads all those IRS files on the home office server. So for the Madeira office, this will be very quick. For Manteca and Sacramento, this may take a minute depending on how many files there are. So definitely want to keep that master folder clean. And then what it does is it'll show you all of the files that are currently available and then any that are checked out. So you can see right now in this project, nothing is currently checked out. So let me go. I'll grab this existing mapping file here. So we'll take a look at that one, and I'm just going to do this as a test. So you want to select it here, and then I want to click on Checkout Selected File. Definitely give it a reason. So we'll just say IRS MFM train. Gosh, I can't type today. Training. There we go. And I'll click Checkout. And you should get this okay. One of the things we have to make sure is that everybody working on the project has full read-write permissions to this folder on the Madeira server. So that's something we're going to have to work with the analyst to make sure. And then if I tell it to refresh the list, we'll see now that that file shows up that it is checked out to me. And let me come back in to just kind of see what's going on here. If I come down to my working folder, that file has now been copied there. All right, so I can bring back in my Cadillac, go to my working folder, and open my file. And I can now work on and edit this drawing. So I have it checked out. Nobody else through the IRS MFM can check that file out. Okay. So let me close that down. All right. Of course, they've got some weird shape files. So what I can do is I can edit it, I can save it, and then at some point I can determine whether or not I need to check this file back in. And there's two ways you can go. You can either check it back in, which will remove it from your working folder and place the copy back in the master folder in the home office, or I can do what's called an update, where I update the master file, but I keep the file checked out to my working folder. If you just want to update, there is a utility in the End Tools where I can actually update from inside of AutoCAD. All right, so let me click on that. And what it does, it'll save the file, and then you get a dialog, and this is almost the same dialog that you're going to get when you use the IRS MFM tool. And actually, I'm not going to send an email, but we can actually send emails to the team members to indicate, hey, here's what I've done, and what I'll do is I'll just God, I spelled it the same way this time too. T-R-I-N-I-N-G. Okay, so we're testing the update from AutoCAD. When I do this, it will copy the master file from your working folder to the parent, and then the checkout copy will remain. So we'll go ahead and pick OK to that. So I do have to put in a description before that is available. So I actually saved it in my local folder and then copied it to back to the master folder on the server. And then what you'll see is if I'm in one of the remote offices, I can come out here and there'll be a batch file copy master from wherever, and I can double click that and it'll copy all the master files. Okay, so you kind of don't want to run that in the home office here. All right, so that's from inside AutoCAD. I can update it, but I keep it checked out. Okay, to do the same thing from outside of AutoCAD, I go back into the IRS MFM program here, open my project up. Okay, I can see I still have that file checked out. It shows that it was updated. Okay, if I click on it, I can view the history, and you'll see here's all the information here. It's still checked out by me, and here's that note I put in there. I did a training, the IRS update from AutoCAD. So you can see it's keeping track of everything I've done. I can go back to here. If I want to check it in, then I come over to this screen. So I'm back to a check-in screen, and it shows me everything I have checked out. And then I have an option to either check it in or update it back. Okay, check-in removes it from my working folder, places it back in the master folder. Update just copies it to the master folder. So I'll go ahead and check it in. Reads my last description, so if I keep doing the same thing over again, so we'll say that change this one to, not check in from, okay, and I can send an email to the team, and this one actually has a little button here, and I can pick on and add email addresses for people that I want to send this to. So this is all the people working on this project, and we'll set it up to email everybody on this team, and I can say don't send the email at this point. Recommend leaving that on though. It's actually a nice utility. I will check it in, pick OK to that. You'll see that my files clear up here, and then when I go back to the checkout screen and then refresh this one, we'll see that that file now shows back up in the available file list. And if I come back now to my project, we'll see that it is no longer in my working folder, and it's been copied back now to the master folder. So here it is right here, so 1/4. Hopefully that date doesn't screw these guys up too much. I didn't do anything to it here. But that's hopefully in a nutshell, you guys see how this is going to work or how it behaves. Any questions from anybody? I hear a breath. No? So all's
Nope.
clear? All right. It's not, the project's not set up yet, but once Jerry does have the folder set up, I will assist in getting the other offices set up, and then we will also get the automatic replication established through the IT group here. All right. Are you guys going to be using the LAN desktop on this at all, Jerry?
Yeah,
Okay.
but we're just going to be doing some planner profiles. And
Okay.
that's probably about it. A little bit of grading.
All right. Things like, alignments and profiles and surfaces, we've been using the land XML. Export it from one office, import it into the other office is really the way we're working on that. If you guys eventually go to Civil 3D, this actually works fairly well with Civil 3D because we put all of our Civil 3D drawings in the master folder, so those get replicated as well. It's a little complicated setting up the data shortcuts to that, but it seems to accommodate that process fairly well. All right, well, if there's no other questions, good luck with this. Feel free to email me or call me if you guys ever have any issues with this. In terms of adding files, setting it up. I didn't do the create new master file. I kind of skipped over that. What you do is oh, yeah, that's why we didn't do that one, because it crashes. We need to create a project templates folder and put a template file in there because I need to update the software so it runs in this version of AutoCAD here. We'll see if we create, we'll see it's looking in the LDT3 folder is how old this is. So we are in the process of updating this to 2009, 2010. So we'll find that. But if you have a template folder on your job, you can put a template drawing there and use that to create it. So that's why I left this piece out because it is a little buggy. All right, well, if there's nothing else, hopefully this was beneficial to you, and good luck with your project. Thanks.
All right. Thank you, David.
All right.
Okay, bye.